We're live. Hey guys, welcome to Pro Prep Baseball Sunday night. I'm Ken Arnold.
I'm Tommy Weber.
Still?
Yeah.
After all these years and all this time?
I was wondering.
You were wondering? Who the hell am I?
Right.
All right, Tommy, we got to get right into it tonight, man, because we don't have a lot of time. So there's an Eagles game on, and I know you got work to do. So, yeah, people are freaking out. So let me double check, just make sure we got good video feed going here. And it looks like we do. Yep, we're on, got a great feed going on YouTube. So welcome everybody over on YouTube. And welcome everybody here on Pro Prep Baseball. Aaron Okola joined. Is that how you say that? Aaron Okola?
Yeah. Good golfer.
Fantastic. Golf is a great sport. Baseball players love to play golf.
Golf's the hardest game you'll ever play.
Yeah. Do you think?
Golf, without a doubt. It's so much harder than baseball. Way harder.
What about hockey? Hockey. Because you got to play. You're on skates.
Well, you got to be able to skate.
Yeah, you got to be on ice.
Right. There's a prerequisite to skating. But as far as skill, golf is the most. And golf is way harder. I'll tell you why. Only 130 guys play on the PGA Tour that are exempt. Think about that. So you have to be one of the best 130 on the planet, or you don't get paid.
Exactly.
Right? So, I mean, in baseball, there's over 700, and there's probably closer to 1,000 that play throughout a season and get, pretty well paid. In golf, if you're not top 130, you're going to struggle. You're not going to make a lot of money. So, and you got to be in golf. You have to be the pitcher, the catcher, the outfielders. You get one chance to hit that one ball where you want to hit it. In golf, you got to play all your foul balls, and it's really, really hard. And yes, mentally, it's only you. There's no hiding. You are not on a team where if you go 0 for 3 and your next guy goes 4 for 4, you kind of get lost in the shuffle. You are completely exposed on the golf course. It really is an amazingly challenging game. It really is. I don't think it's a sport, but it's a game. And it's in my opinion, the most difficult game you'll ever play.
No, it's not easy. And you have to play it all the time to master it. I mean, every day, all day long. You can't do anything else. Well, to be at the highest level of anything, you've got to do that. But with golf, I think it's even more so. So
yeah, it's all skill. It's all skill. It doesn't matter. Rory McIlroy is 5'6". He hits it 350. You have to be skilled. It's not like one day you wake up and you can throw 95 miles an hour and you'll be a major league pitcher. In golf, if you hit it 300 yards, it doesn't matter because if you're hitting it sideways, you can't go anywhere. And no, it's not a sport. It's a game. It's different.
Oh, I gotta agree with Aaron, man. I think it's a sport. It's a sport.
Okay.
It is a sport. Come on.
I play it every day, but I don't think it's a sport. And I don't think it's a sport for one reason. Golf is a game that has an inordinate amount of good fortune inherent in the game. In other words, the ball's got to bounce your way. You're hitting the ball an awful long distance, and then you're leaving it up to fate. I could hit my ball, whatever. You hit it 300, I hit it 300. We could be 3 feet away from from each other. I could be in a divot or in a terrible lie. You could be in a perfect lie. So it is, to a great degree, a game of chance, more so than any other game, and that's why I don't call it a sport. I don't believe you necessarily have to be particularly athletic to be a really elite golfer. And a lot of guys who are not athletic at all are terrific golfers. Whereas every other game, every other sport, you have to be a very, very good athlete in order to play.
All right, so let's get back to baseball.
By the way, it isn't definitely anything. It's a conversation, Aaron, and we can disagree. So I just consider it a game, not a sport. You're allowed to consider it a sport. We can differ.
All right. Well, I agree with Aaron in a sense that you got to have a little bit of athletic ability to do.
Okay.
So,
fine.
I mean, a little bit.
Yeah, you do, but you have to have a little athletic ability to run up a flight of steps too.
Yeah, well, because I've seen plenty of pitchers who had very little athletic ability but could throw the ball 95 miles an hour.
That's true.
So
you're right.
So shortstop, whatever it is, play position in baseball, you have to have some athletic ability. So, all right, Aaron sent us a winky face, so pretty cool. Again, wow, Weber, we're crapping out again. I thought I had this fixed, man. But we are still. We're back on. We're back up. It's running again. We're back on live on Facebook. But I thought I had this all worked out. I did tests all week long where I let it just play for an hour and didn't have it crap out at all. So I don't understand why it's crapping out again. Everything's plugged in. I got 100% going. Oh, boy. What a pain in the butt. But we're going good right now. We got a green. So let's get into it. Who's your MVP this season for the American League? Who you got? You got Trout?
No.
Who else you got? Who you got?
How could you be the most valuable player on a team that doesn't win? I mean,
well,
actually, you have no value. If your team doesn't win, I don't know how you can have any value.
Well, here's the players that they got right now.
I think the most valuable player in the American League in 2019, without a doubt, was DJ LeMahieu for the Yankees.
Okay.
I don't think any player checked as many boxes for his team and had a phenomenal season as that guy did.
Okay, Mike Trout, Alex Bregman, Xander Bogaerts were listed. Rafael Devers, Matt Chapman, Michael Brantley, DJ LeMahieu. So, and Trout's done for the season. He's not going to play the last 2 weeks.
I wouldn't even give Trout, to me, is not even a thought. If you want to talk about guys who have the best season, that's a different story. We could argue that. But as far as value is concerned, given the context that the Yankees have had to play with all the injuries that they've had, DJ LeMahieu has been the one irreplaceable player on the team that's probably going to have either the best or the second best record in the league, and they're going to win the division. So, and I'm not a Yankee acolyte. It's not because I like the Yankees. I think it's hands down. He's had more value to his team than any other player probably in the game. In my opinion, DJ LeMahieu is the most valuable player in 2019. I want to make sure I say this so nobody ats me, in baseball without a doubt.
Yep, I don't disagree. I love DJ LeMahieu and the way he's played and the way he's come on and he's helped the Yankees this season. Without him, they're nowhere near where they're at, especially with all the injuries that they had.
And I would even say that Aaron is right, and I would respectfully disagree. I think DJ LeMahieu is the best player in baseball this year. If I had one guy, I would pick him. He could play 5 positions. He's going to hit 330. He's going to drive in over 100 runs. He's excellent defensively at every position he plays. I don't know how you can be much better than that. You might be able to rack up better numbers, but I don't know that you could be better than that.
All right. So who do you have in the National League? Yelich is out. He's hurt. He's done for the season. So you have Cody Bellinger, and then they have Anthony Rendon listed as well on their list, the short list at MLB Network. So
I would probably, I don't know what their numbers are, but those kids with the Braves, one of those kids, I think, would be my MVP because of the. I don't know if their numbers are comparable. It would have probably been Yelich if his team made the playoffs.
Mm-hmm. Which they still might make it. So that was my next question.
But I think those kids with the Braves are
Acuna.
Yeah, I think that those
Freddie Freeman's listed on this in the others section. Others who could possibly win. He's listed, and Ketel Marte. So I got to go with Cody Bellinger. I mean, he's got 44 home runs. He's driven over 100 runs. The Dodgers are in first place. They're kicking butt. They're going to cruise right into the playoffs, and I think they're going to just go right through the playoffs. There's nobody in the National League that could possibly beat them. If Scherzer's hot, maybe, but I don't think that anybody's going to beat the Dodgers.
And Dave Roberts will lose one game a series for them. So
yeah, absolutely,
they can't. They really do. They operate. It's like a handicap in golf. Mm-hmm. They really do operate with a man. Like he blew that game last night against the Mets. He overmanaged himself into a corner, and they wound up losing that game. There's no reason why he took the Irish guy out, the right-hander, the kid who throws really hard. I mean, he micromanaged that inning. And he and Mickey Callaway were playing who could be the worst.
Who could
manager.
be the worst?
Like
they both started watching the Phillies game. That's what they did. They were like, yeah, let's watch Kapler screw it up even worse than us. So he's terrible. They're all terrible, if you ask me.
Wow.
So
awful.
All right, let's take a look at wild card standings in the American League. Let's go here. We got Houston is winning their division. The Yankees are winning their division. Minnesota is winning their division. Oakland is a game and a half up in the wild card, and it looks like Tampa Bay might pull it off, Tommy. It looks like they might. They're a game and a half up over Cleveland, and that's about it. There's nobody else after Cleveland. Boston's 9 games behind. They're not catching them. So
no, Boston's done, and I don't know. I don't know if Cleveland has a push in them, but my suspicion, for no other reason than it's a suspicion, and based on what I see, is that they don't have that in them, and that maybe Tampa Bay just has more energy at this point in time, and is going to hold them off.
Well, they're both playing good baseball. Tampa Bay 7-3 over their last 10. Cleveland 6-4, and they both have 12 games left. I think it is. Yeah. They both have 12, 13 games left. So, whoever does, one of them goes on a streak and goes 8-2 or 9-1 in their last 10 games is probably going to pull it off. But, you don't hear much about Tampa Bay. And the reason being is why? Because they're in what? Florida.
Hell.
Yeah, they're in Florida. And that's a tough place. That's a tough place to get people to come to a baseball game.
Always, historically, Florida, when the Miami Dolphins were winning Super Bowls, they had difficulty filling up their stadium. South Florida is a very, very difficult place to get people to support professional sports, and always has been. And I think in the end, Tampa Bay is going to wind up in Montreal, because the truth is that the Bronfmans, the Seagram's, I guess Seagram 7, they're Seagram's Liquor. They were the original owners of the Montreal Expos, and they cut a deal recently. They got the city of Montreal to do a preliminary approval on a ballpark, a brand new ballpark with a real estate developer to develop some real estate around the ballpark in a certain area of Montreal. So they are greasing the skids for a move by the Tampa Bay Rays to Montreal, and I think that's what's going to happen, because Tampa is just not viable. It isn't.
So what do you think about this, Tommy Weber? I do want to talk about the National League wildcard. National League. But what do you think about this? The way they do the soccer in the UK, in Europe.
It's pretty cool.
You have to play to be in that upper division. Oh. And if you're not good enough, or if you don't draw enough fans, you drop back, you drop out. And then they bring in somebody else.
Now you're attending one of my undergraduate classes at St. John's, because this is what I teach. The reality is that American sports, especially baseball and football, let's take baseball and football, they really thrive because of one thing. They enjoy an antitrust exemption. There's no competition. Yeah. So there's really no incentive other than you want to win for the Tampa Bay Rays to do anything differently, or the Miami Marlins to do anything differently, or the Pittsburgh. Revenue sharing, you're sharing in the pot. And that keeps all the money and all the access in the hands of the very few. If you were threatened, if the Detroit Tigers now were going to drop out of the league and go into like some minor major league, you would see the Detroit Tigers scrambling with desperation to win some games instead of mailing it in for the last 3 months, which is really what they're doing. I've never seen teams in my lifetime. I have never seen more terrible teams in Major League Baseball than there are today. Never.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Tommy, but they all get the same amount of money from MLB, from Major League Baseball. They all get an equal share from Major League Baseball. Is that correct? Well,
they share in the ESPN deal and the national television deal.
Yeah, but they also from the licensing of jerseys and hats and all of that.
They share in the licensing, and they share. But the Marlins get paid, based on that luxury tax that gets distributed to the teams that come under the luxury tax. So the Marlins are getting money from the teams that go over the salary cap and have to pay a luxury tax. That money goes to the teams that generate the least revenue. They're subsidizing teams like the Marlins, who are the worst. They generate the least amount of revenue, and I think Tampa Bay is second in revenue generating.
So they're subsidizing below average talent, or below average teams. Yeah,
they're subsidizing teams that can't make money.
Yeah. They're subsidizing teams that stink or have no incentive to get better.
Right. And they're really rewarding the fans of teams that don't support their team.
Yeah.
Because in 30 years ago, the Marlins would have been out of Florida. They would have hightailed it out of Florida and been in, either Montreal or Charleston or Las Vegas or some other city that wants a team.
Yeah. All right, let's get to the wild card standings in the National League. Let's see. You've got the Dodgers at the top of their division. They're in. Atlanta at the top of their division. They're in. St. Louis could still lose it. They've got an opportunity to do so. They're 83 and 66, 2 games ahead of the Cubs, 81 and 68, and 3 games ahead of Milwaukee. The Mets are 3.5 out. Phillies are 4.5. I don't see them making a run. Either of those two teams. I think they're done. The Mets and the Phillies. What do you think about the Cubs, and what do you think about Milwaukee?
Well, I think the Cubs are. I think tonight's a huge night for the Mets. I think if the Mets fall to 4 behind, that may be too much. With 12 games left, they'd have to make up 4 games, I believe, which is really, really hard to do. That means that if one team goes 6-6, you got to go to just the 4. Are you hearing me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine. Yep.
So I think that's critical. I just don't know that the Mets have that in them, and I give them a lot of credit. I mean, I still think they totally screwed this up. This was the worst thing that could have happened to the Mets. Being relevant this late really hamstrung their efforts to move players they could have gotten something back for. Now basically they show up with the same team next year, a year older. I really think that this was not a good thing for the Mets, because they're not going to make, even if they make it, chances of them making a deep run are very, very slim. So it's unfortunate that they didn't pull the trigger when they could have, and they could have pulled the trigger last year too. So I think it's going to be the Cubs, and I guess Milwaukee, right? Yeah.
Yep. The Cubs in Milwaukee. Well, you got
the Phillies have to clean house.
Well, you got Washington. Washington is going to. I think Washington's going to have the first wild card spot, and then it's between the Cubs and Milwaukee for that last slot.
Right. I'm sorry. You're right. Yeah. But I think the Phillies have to clean house. The Phillies are a disaster. The Kapler thing was just ill-fated from the beginning. It was a bad idea, and he's done everything he can from day one to prove that he doesn't belong managing a Major League Baseball team.
Yeah, he's the Chip Kelly of.
He is. I mean, I don't know what you know better than I do what people must be saying in Philadelphia, but
yeah, they're going crazy. They're going crazy. They want him out. They want him gone. They want to run him out. So, so all that over. We're done talking Major League Baseball. What do you got this week, wisdom-wise, for us, Webbs? The Webbs bit of wisdom for this week. Baseball wisdom. Lay it on me, man.
Well,
Lay it on me.
I don't think it's ever just baseball. It's always universal. So let's see. I would say this week I've been working with a couple of my pro players. The back, season's over. I'm trying to convince them to stop talking about their swing and start talking about how they move. It's not a swing; it's a move. It's like golf. You don't swing the club; you move your body so that the club can act for you. When you concentrate on the object, when you concentrate on the bat, right, where the bat goes, you're missing out on what moves everything, which is your body. So if we could teach you to move, or if we could get you to move well, whatever you put in your hand is going to move well too, whether it be a bat, a ball, a tennis racket, or a golf club. But when you focus on the object that you're swinging, that's when you start to get ahead of it. You start to throw it. You start to swing it faster. You start to do all the things that are counterintuitive to your success. You want to learn how to move your body. That's your mass. That's your speed, your power. All your acceleration comes from your body. Whatever you're holding in your hand needs to be along for the ride. So my thing with my hitters this week was forget the bat.
Okay, and just let it go along for that ride. Correct. Put it in its slot and let it go.
Right. Forget the bat. The bat's now invisible. You don't have the bat in your hand. Feel like the bat's not even there, and then move and go. And see what that feels like. And I'm really trying the more I do this, the more experience I have, the more I want it to be more of a feel experience. Dynamics are more important than mechanics. Because if you have good dynamics, you can almost back into being good mechanically. But if all you ever do is focus on mechanics, your dynamics tend to not follow. You're stiff, you're slow, you're plodding, and you can't release.
Okay, I'll give you an example of a dynamic hitter. Not his mechanics look like hell, but he's a good hitter. Hunter Pence.
Hunter Pence.
I mean, that guy's all over the place swing.
But
he puts the ball in play, and he puts the ball in play hard.
I love him.
And he's got good, and he's busting his butt all the time, which, helps.
Right.
But, he's a good hitter, and his mechanics are all over the place. So he's more dynamically sound than mechanically sound.
Look, I think they're closely related, and I don't think you could have terrible mechanics. But I think you can. I think we teach it backwards. We teach mechanics and then expect guys to be able to move rhythmically with good mechanics. When if we taught guys to move rhythmically, the mechanics would sort of write themselves because they'd be moving well. And then the bat or the club or the tennis racket or the ball that you're throwing would just be along for the ride. And it would be a lot easier to just let it go. So that's my tip for the week.
All right, fair enough.
And that was all improvised right there. I did not know that was coming. So.
Well, that was beautiful. Beautifully done, right? We're getting better at this, Weber. I mean, in about 4, 5, 6 years, we might have this down. So,
well, we've been doing it on and off for,
2 years now, at least.
35.
Oh,
maybe.
well, that's true, yeah. We just haven't been videotaping any of this. So what I'm thinking, when I work with my guys, and I'm going to tie it into what you say, is I watch them first. If I've never seen them play before, I want to watch them. I want to see what they do, how they hit, before I start giving them any tips or any pointers. And if they are consistently putting the ball in play and they're putting it into play hard and they're making good contact, I'm not going to change much. I'm not going to, I'm going to get them reps and I'm going to, give them some guidance, but I'm not going to mechanically change them if they're putting the ball in play and having success.
And I guess that begs the question, why would you?
Exactly. But people do it all the time.
All the time.
People tinker all the time with stuff that doesn't need to be tinkered with.
Right, because they get their ego involved and they want to create players in their own image and they want guys they want to put their stamp on guys. Look, if you're going along and you're playing, you're hitting the ball with the other end of the bat, I don't care. If you're getting it done, you're getting it done. I'm not going to now, I leave you alone. Success is fleeting and it doesn't last forever. And when you get hot, you got to ride it. And then when you cool down, we'll work a little bit on something, and hopefully you get hot again and stay hot for a long time. So however you do it, it's personal, and you can get it done. Be my guest.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I like that approach better than I have to make all of my hitters the same, which you'll see teams, and every hitter comes up and looks the exact same.
Well, Danny Ford will tell you, look at college. College is an egomaniac's wet dream, man. It's like these guys can't wait to change you. They can't wait to show you what they know. Well, the only thing I know about, hitting is it's hard. It's really hard. And if you can do it and you're doing it well, and you're seeing the ball well and you're not swinging the balls out of the strike zone and you're putting the ball in play and hitting the ball hard, what more can you do?
Yeah. Danny Ford says, put them all in dance class.
I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more.
I did it, Danny, when I was playing. In the offseason, I took ballet.
Yoga?
I took tap. Yeah, I didn't do yoga, but I did the ballet and the tap dance. And Amanda finally joined. Thanks, Renee. How are you? Thanks for coming on. But we're about ready to wrap this up, man. We got things to do. I got an Eagles game, and Weber's got papers to grade or something.
I do have to say that one thing really cool, as we talked about before, is one of my players,
all right,
Jason Kanzler, who became one of my best friends. He was on a championship team in 2011. I brought him out to the Cape with me in 2017 and 18. So we lived together. We won a championship in 2017. He's also with the Houston Astros. He's one of their hitting coaches. And I presided over his wedding a few years ago. And he had a baby on Friday. And he named that baby Cadence Thomas Kanzler.
Fantastic.
And I got to tell you, man, it really makes you pause. And I thought to myself, wow, not only was I, of course, honored and overwhelmed, and I cried, and I was so thankful to both he and Ashley, but I thought to myself, gee, so somebody actually is like listening to me. So now I've got to be careful what
you
I
say. Yeah. What are you doing?
I didn't mean for you to take me seriously. so it's like now I'm wondering, oh my God, has every guy that I've worked with actually taken my advice seriously? Please don't listen. Anybody who's watching out there, I didn't mean for you to take me literally. But I must say, it's one of the, really, in all seriousness, one of the great honors of my life. I am floored, overwhelmed, and humbled that he would bestow such a wonderful honor on me. And it's something that's really, really cool, man.
Well, congratulations to him and his wife and their wonderful new child, and congratulations to you.
Yeah, so. And you know what? You had like 11 of them, and you didn't name any of them after me.
I was going to name my last kid Jughead. As a matter of fact, I can still call him Jughead. But you next week, Tommy. We'll talk a little bit more about. We're getting close to the playoffs. It's only 2 weeks away, and we get into October baseball, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm anxious to see what happens, and of course, the ball's going to be flying around the field, leaving the yard at record pace.
Yeah. Oh well.
Oh well. All right, man. Have a great week. I'll see you.
Love you, man.
All right, love you.